everyone, my name is Zero and you're watching Combo On. Today we answer the question, what if Lifegain was actually your win con? And to do that we are diving back into Final Fantasy to build a commander around Hope Estheim. Hope is a white and a blue for a 2-2 with lifelink, and at the beginning of your end step each opponent mills X cards, where X is the amount of life that you gain this turn. So Hope sets very clear expectations for the deck, right? We are gaining life, so we are playing cards like Rock's Faith Mender and the Wind Crystal to just double our life gain, and cards like Felidar Sovereign to just win. And of course, as we gain life, we are milling our opponents, but every mill deck in Commander needs every single bit of help that it can get. So we are playing cards like River Churn Monument that has an exhaust ability that for 2 and 2 blue, tap it, any number of target players, each mill cards equal to the number of cards in their graveyard. This is amazing if you have a very explosive turn with Hope's ability, but also it's a 2-card combo with Traumatize and Maddening Cacophony that just kills target player. In this deck we are actively stuffing our opponent's graveyards, and let's face it, half the table loves that. To make sure we are not just turbocharging their strategy, we need some failsafes. Cards like Rest in Peace and Grafdigger's Cage are our insurance policies against those graveyard decks. But sometimes you just don't draw them when you need them. That's where our extensive counter magic suite comes in. Not only does it protect our strategy, but it keeps our opponents from going off before we do. More than that, it allows us to be political with those Reanimator and Dredge players that will want to be our friends just as long as we are not playing any graveyard hate. We now come to that part where I say you should have some leverage in your deck. In this case, we are compounding our strategy, meaning that we are just doing more of what we do to actually reap the benefits of it all together in a big bundle. For 1 mana, Cleric class will gain us 1 more life each time we gain life, and we can level it up for multiple more benefits. We have cards like Authority of the Consuls, which will make our opponent's creatures enter tapped, which will settle down our most aggro hasty opponents, as well as gain us some life when our opponents have creatures enter the battlefield, so it will also benefit us a lot if we are playing against a very wide strategy. Also, we have Ishtola Rule, who actually has no good blink targets in the deck, but she has that tiny line of text that adds an extra end step to our end step, and that just means Hope triggers twice, and it mills double the cards in 1 turn. But if you aren't, you should be thinking, have you ever seen any good mill or Lifegain EDH deck? The answer is probably no, and that's why this deck is not what it looks like. This is not a Lifegain deck, this is not a mill deck, this is a surprise Voltron deck. So you should run. So our plan will be actually to arm Hope to the teeth. And to do so, we are playing cards like Buster Sword, Mithril Cloak, Blackblade Reforged, for instance, that will make Hope huge. And of course, Hope will hit with lifelink, so we are gaining life back, and incidentally, we are milling our opponents. Yes, we are. But that's not our win con. We are also playing cards like Thran Power Suit, which will benefit from a lot of equipments in the battlefield, and Caduceus, Staff of Hermes, that will benefit from our life gain, as well as Steel Shaper's Gift to just fetch us the equipment we might need at some point. As we are playing a lot of equipment, we are also playing some support cards that you'd expect, like Sigarda's Aid, Pure Steel Paladin, and SRAM Senior Artificer. To help us make Hope a lethal threat on his own, we are playing also some enchantments, cards like All That Glitters, Echo's Form, and Ether Tunnel, which will be supported by cards like Rogue's Passage, Open the Armory, and Spirit Mantle, for instance. Now that you know the secret, you'll probably be guessing that, as any Voltron deck, we are low on creatures, so we need some checks and balances. We are running cards like Fumigate, Supreme Verdict, and Farewell to just help us keep the board in check. Not just that, of course, we are playing a lot of spot removal, a lot of counter magic, and some protection spells as well. And when I say we are low on creatures, I'm not kidding. You might be seeing just the rest of them now. Snapcaster Mage, Bruvak, and Skrelv might not look like much, but they are all in the deck for some very specific reasons. Snapcaster needs no introduction, he is here to help us flashback whatever we need to keep the game in check. Is it a removal spell, is it counter magic, we don't know. It will be anything that we might need at a certain point. On the other hand, Bruvak is here for some very specific card combos. He's very popular in mill decks for a reason, and is very expensive, but more on that later. Bruvak is a 2-card combo with cards like Traumatize, Maddening Cacophony, or the adventure side of Jidur. Skrelv is our Mother of Runes in the deck. He's here to protect our commander from any removal spell, as well as helping us get through with unblockable damage by giving our commander protection against the color of the blockers that our opponents might have available. And while we are playing jank, there's no reason why we can't make it just as effective as possible. So we are building this deck, trying to make it closer to bracket 4 than just a lower tier bracket 3. But this means we are playing 3 game changers. And very effective game plans and game changers usually mean higher deck building costs. With 3 game changers, we are locked to bracket 3 or more. We can change that, and we can make the deck a bit to a lot cheaper to build. Just in the 3 game changers, we have Cyclonic Rift from 22 euros, Teferi's Protection from 25, and Rhystic Study from 33. We can make the deck cheaper and friendlier to play against by moving it down to bracket 2. To do that, we'll remove the 3 game changers, and we can also remove the tutors and the card that allows for 2-card combos in Bruvak. So picture we take out Steel Shaper's Gift and Open the Armory, which are not that very expensive but are tutors, and you remove Bruvak because of the combo potential. Those and the 3 game changers will save you around 120 euros just for downgrading 6 cards. And if you are building a bracket 2, most likely you don't need your fetch lands in your mana base, so you can also remove Polluted Delta, Flooded Strand and Prismatic Vista to spare an extra 55 euros. Only 9 cards will spare you 175 euros, but more likely closer to 200 because you are most likely buying singles from different retailers with some sort of markup and not at their lowest. But of course we need to replace them with something. So we can replace the fetch lands with just slow fetches in Bad River, Floodplain and Grasslands. We also include River's Rebuke instead of Cyclonic Rift, and Dawn of Hope doesn't quite replace Rhystic Study, but as we are gaining so much life in this deck, it will help us draw a ton of cards, and it will also be a way for us to make a blocker in a pinch if we need it. To actually transform the deck in a creature-heavy base, we need to remove much more than these 9 cards. So with just these downgrades, my option would be to include cards like Propaganda and Sphere of Safety to just deter our opponents from just coming all out attacking us. Dissipation Field does essentially the same by bouncing our opponent's creatures to their hands when they connect with us, and Dawnstruce is our replacement for Teferi's Protection. It doesn't do quite the same, but it's protection, that's what we need. Of course, all prices were taken at the time of recording, and the bracket 4 deck would set you back around 366 euros, which is a lot. Even the bracket 2 deck is still a lot, and I don't recommend that you actually go all out and build the deck just as it is. Try a budget list first, try a brawl deck first, see how the deck feels, see how you play, see how you react to it, and see if your friends like it. If they don't, maybe you shouldn't be spending all this money in cardboard. I know, I once built a Nekusar deck and I played it once. They hated me. Of course, if you enjoyed the deck, if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe. The decklist as always is down below, so go on, take a look. The replacements for the budget version of the cards are in the maybe board, so you'll be finding it easy to replace and to navigate the decklist. Until next time, keep comboing on.